Oh, thank goodness. I was having a little bit of technical difficulties at the beginning of trying to record this. So, here we go. We're going to start today with this beautiful picture of a Norwegian ridgeback. And if we can remember back from yesterday, we know that Norwegian ridgeback is the kind of dragon, a much smaller dragon though, that just hatched in Hagrid's hut. And if you also remember, something horrible happened there at the end, which was Malfoy saw the dragon hatch. So Malfoy now knows about the dragon. And we had a lot of great predictions. Some of them were very scary. Some of you guys said that like maybe Hagrid's going to go to jail and get fired. I was like, I hope not. And then some of us said that Malfoy is going to go tell teachers. He's going to tell everybody. And that's probably a pretty good prediction because we know that Malfoy is not a nice guy. But if this is what the dragon grows to be, look, he's on the side of a building. If this is like how big the dragon grows to be, then we can maybe understand why Ron and Harry and Hermione are so worried about Hagrid having this dragon at Hogwarts, because that's a big dragon. And this says it's from the illustrated edition of Dragon Species of Great Britain and Ireland. So I'm going to turn the page back because I can't freeze while I'm video recording, and I'm going to start reading here on this page. But you can, if you want, you can see Malfoy being a snoop over here. All right, here we go. Something about the smile lurking on Malfoy's face during the next week made Harry, Ron, and Hermione very nervous. They spent most of their free time in Hagrid's darkened hut, trying to reason with him. "Just let him go," Harry urged. "Set him free." "I can't," said Hagrid. "He's too little. He'd die." They looked at the dragon. It had grown 3 times in length in just a week. Smoke kept furling out of its nostrils. Hagrid hadn't been doing his gamekeeping duties because the dragon was keeping him so busy. There were empty brandy bottles and chicken feathers all over the floor. "I've decided to call him Norbert," said Hagrid, looking at the dragon with misty eyes. "He really knows me now. Watch. Norbert, Norbert, where's Mummy?" "He's lost his marbles," Ron muttered in Harry's ear. And I want us to pause. What does Ron mean by he lost his marbles? Hagrid doesn't really have marbles, right? He doesn't have a thing of marbles. So what does he mean by that? If you said it means that he's gone crazy, you're right. That's what people mean when they say, oh, he's lost his marbles. "Hagrid," said Harry loudly, "give it a fortnight and Norbert's going to be as big as long as your house. Malfoy could go to Dumbledore at any moment." Hagrid bit his lip. I know I can't keep him here forever, but I can't just dump him. I can't." Harry suddenly turned to Ron. "Charlie," he said. "You're losing it too," said Ron. "I'm Ron, remember?" "No, Charlie, your brother Charlie, in Romania, studying dragons. We could send Norbert to him. Charlie can take care of him and then put him back in the wild." "Brilliant," said Ron. "How about it, Hagrid?" And in the end, Hagrid agreed that they could send an owl to Charlie to ask him. The following week dragged by. Wednesday night found Hermione and Harry sitting alone in the common room long after everyone else had gone to bed. The clock on the wall just chimed midnight when the portrait hole burst open. Ron appeared out of nowhere as he pulled off Harry's invisibility cloak. He had been down to Hagrid's hut helping him feed Norbert, who was now eating dead rats by the crate. "It bit me," he said, showing them his hand, which was wrapped in a bloody handkerchief. "I'm not going to be able to hold a quill for a week. I tell you, that dragon's the most horrible animal I've ever met. But the way Hagrid goes on about it, you'd think it was a little fluffy bunny rabbit. When it bit me, he told me off for frightening it. And when I left, he was singing it a lullaby." There was a tap on the dark window. "It's Hedwig," said Harry, hurrying to let her in. "She'll have Charlie's answer." The three of them put their heads together to read the note. Woo! So do you think, is Charlie gonna, thumbs up, thumbs down, Charlie is gonna take Norbert? Thumbs down, Charlie is not gonna take Norbert. Let's hope he does. And here's our beautiful picture again. Dear Ron, how are you? Thanks for the letter. I'd be glad to take the Norwegian winch back, but it won't be easy getting him here. I think the best thing will be to send him over with some friends of mine who are coming to visit me next week. Trouble is, they mustn't be seen carrying an illegal dragon. Could you get the Ridgeback up to the tallest tower at midnight on Saturday? They can meet you there and take him away while it's still dark. Send me an answer as soon as possible. Love, Charlie. They looked at each other. We've got the invisibility cloak, said Harry. This shouldn't be too difficult. I think the cloak's big enough to cover two of us and Norbert. It was a mark of how bad the last week had been that the other two agreed with him. Anything to get rid of Norbert and Malfoy. We got some time. Remember, when there's this space, there's some time in between. There was a hitch. There was a hitch. I wonder what that word means. So we're going to read a little bit longer and see if we can figure out what hitch means. By the next morning, Ron's hand had swollen to twice its usual size. He didn't know whether it was safe to go to Madame Pomfrey. Would she recognize a dragon bite? By the afternoon, though, he had no choice. The cut had turned a nasty shade of green. It looked as if Norbert's fangs were poisonous. Yikes. So a hitch must mean a problem, because that sounds like a really big problem. Harry and Hermione rushed up to the hospital wing at the end of the day to find Ron in a terrible state in bed. It's not just my hand, he whispered, although it feels like it's about to fall off. Malfoy told Madame Pomfrey he wanted to borrow one of my books so that he could come and have a good laugh at me. He kept threatening to tell her what really bit me. I've told her it was a dog, but I don't think she believes me. I shouldn't have hit him at the Quidditch match. That's why he's doing this. Harry and Hermione tried to calm Ron down. It'll all be over midnight on Saturday, said Hermione, but this didn't soothe Ron at all. On the contrary, he sat bolt upright and broke into a sweat. Midnight on Saturday, he said in a hoarse voice. Oh no, I just remembered. Charlie's letter was in that book Malfoy took. He's going to know we're getting rid of Norbert. Harry and Hermione didn't chance to answer. And Madame Pomfrey came over at that moment and made them leave, saying Ron needed sleep. Uh-oh. So, in your mind, make yourself a prediction as what you think is going to happen now that Malfoy knows when and where they're going to get rid of the dragon. It's too late to change the plan now, Harry told Hermione. We haven't got time to send Charlie another owl, and this could be our only chance to get rid of Norbert. We'll have to risk it. And we have got the invisibility cloak. Malfoy doesn't know about that. They found Fang the border hound sitting outside with a bandaged tail when they went to tell Hagrid, who opened a window to talk to them. I won't let you in, he puffed. Norbert's at a tricky stage. Nothing I can't handle. When they told him about Charlie's letter, his eyes filled with tears, although that might have been because Norbert had just bitten him on the leg. It's all right. He only got my boot. Just playing. He's only a baby after all. The baby banged its tail on the wall, making the windows rattle. Harry and Hermione walked back to the castle, feeling Saturday couldn't come quickly enough. They would have felt sorry for Hagrid when the time came for him to say goodbye to Norbert if they hadn't been so worried about what they had to do. It was a very dark, cloudy night, and they were all a bit late arriving at Hagrid's hut because they had to wait for Peeves to get out of their way in the entrance hall, where he'd been playing tennis against the wall. Hagrid had Norbert packed and ready in a large crate. He's got lots of rats and some brandy for the journey, said Hagrid in a muffled voice. And I pat his teddy bear in case he gets lonely. From the inside the crate, ripping noises came that sounded to Harry as though the teddy was having his head torn off. Bye-bye, Norbert, Hagrid sobbed as Harry and Hermione covered the crate with the invisibility cloak and stepped underneath it themselves. Mummy will never forget you. How they managed to get the crate back up to the castle, they never knew. Midnight ticked nearer as they heaved Norbert up the marble staircase in the entrance hall and along the dark corridors. Up another staircase, then another. Even one of Harry's shortcuts didn't make the work any easier. Nearly there, Harry panted as they reached the corridor beneath the tallest tower. Then, a sudden movement ahead of them made them almost drop the crate. Forgetting that they were already invisible, they shrank. Ooh, cool picture. Here's your picture. Well, Miss Canterbury reads. Into the shadows, staring at the dark outlines of two people grappling with each other 10 feet away. A lamp flared. Professor McGonagall, in a tartan dress gown and a hairnet, had Malfoy by the ear. "Detention!" she shouted. "And 20 points from And 20 points from Slytherin. Wandering around in the middle of the night. How dare you?" "You don't understand, Professor. Harry Potter's coming, and he's got a dragon." "What utter rubbish! How dare you tell such lies? Come on, I shall see Professor Snape about you, Malfoy." The steep spiral staircase up to the top of the tower seemed the easiest thing in the world after that. Not until they'd stepped out into the cold night air did they throw off the cloak. Glad to be able to breathe properly again, Hermione did a sort of jig. "Malfoy's got detention. I could sing." "Don't," Harry advised her. Chuckling about Malfoy, they waited, Norbert thrashing around in his crate. About 10 minutes later, 4 broomsticks came swooping out of the darkness. Charlie's friends were a cheery lot. They showed Harry and Hermione the harness they'd rigged up so they could suspend Norbert between them. They all helped buckle Norbert safely into it, and then Harry and Hermione shook hands while the others thanked them very much. At last, Norbert was gone. They slipped back down the spiral staircase, their heart as light as their hands now that Norbert was off them. No more dragon. Malfoy in detention. What could spoil their happiness? The answer to that was waiting at the foot of the stairs. They stepped into the corridor. Filch's face loomed suddenly out of the darkness. Well, he whispered. "We are in trouble." They left the invisibility cloak on the top of the tower. Uh-oh. So in the comments, I want you to tell me, what do you think is going to happen to Harry and Hermione? They were caught out of bed after midnight, kind of around where Draco said they'd be. And what will happen to the invisibility cloak since it's at the top of the tower? Will it stay there? Will someone find it? Will they find it? Lots of questions. And that's the end of our chapter. Oops, I forgot to tell you the name of the next chapter. Ooh, if I can open the book, it's so heavy. The name of our next chapter is The Forbidden Forest. And we'll see. We know about the Forbidden Forest. So we'll see what that chapter is about tomorrow.